In this video, I want to talk about one benefit that the Amex Platinum is set to lose this year. And no, it's not the Saks credit. We've already talked about that, and that is going away this year too because Saks is now bankrupt. But no, this is something else that is ending, and it's to do with lounge access. It's one airport lounge access program that the Platinum card is currently part of. Then in addition to that, we do actually have some good news too, and that is that the Platinum member airfares program is being expanded from just business and first class to include economy fares too. This means that you can get a bit of a discount when you book through Amex, and you'll also earn 5 points per dollar as well. Hey credit warriors, welcome to the show. My name is Ben Hedges, aka the Credit Shifu, and on this channel I cover US credit cards, personal finance, and luxury travel. If you do like the sound of that, please subscribe, but let's get into it. Oh, and this video is sponsored by Silo Markets. They're rolling out transfer partners very soon, but more on that later. All right, so before we get into the benefit that the Platinum card is losing this year, let's look at the one bit of good news that we do have, and that is that Platinum card holders can now book economy class flights and get some savings on them through the Platinum Member Airfares program. This program, by the way, used to be called the International Airline Program, but it has been rebranded into Platinum Member Airfares. The program includes 30 airlines such as Delta, Singapore, and Qantas, and Amex says the average saving is about $100 per ticket. But obviously that will vary, and I guess if you're booking first class, it's going to be more, and if you're booking a lower class or a lower cost ticket, it will be less. So we can see that with this Delta business class flight to London, it's actually $304 cheaper if you book through the Platinum Member Airfares program. And lower classes are going to be less savings, as you will see in just a moment, because the news about this today is that we do now have some economy class fares in the program, but the savings, as you're going to see, are quite marginal. So if I search a flight from New York to London, I'm saving just $5 booking through this program. $5, what's the point? Actually, in some of the articles I've read about this, it is supposed to be only domestic economy fares anyway, so that could be just sort of a glitch that fare shows up. I'll give you a little bit more information on that in just a moment. But let's now look at New York to LA, okay, a domestic fare. I'm able to actually save $15 booking an economy fare on Delta through the Platinum Members Airfare program. But let's now go back to that New York to London flight, because what I did discover is that these fares are limited to only a few flights on each route, so I could actually save more money if I don't book a Platinum Member Airfare eligible flight, and instead I just book a regular flight at a less convenient time. And wait a minute, what is this? Delta 5990? This one's also Delta 5990. They're the same flight, and the non-Platinum Member Airfare one is actually $100 cheaper. So I don't know what's going on with that. Make that make sense, okay? Maybe it's just a glitch, or maybe it's not even supposed to be there anyway, because like I said in many of the articles I read, this is supposed to just be domestic economy airfares anyway. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Going New York to LA though, the Platinum Members Airfare ticket was indeed the cheapest option. All right, you saved $15 on the price, and none of the non-Platinum Member Airfare ones were cheaper. So, you know, maybe it's just an issue with international flights that they need to work out. But anyway, if you are a Platinum member and you're thinking of going somewhere, you may want to look into this. You might be able to save a little bit of money on your ticket if you're flying economy, and obviously a lot more if you're flying business. But you should investigate it thoroughly yourself to make sure you're really actually getting savings. All right, let's move on to this benefit that the Amex Platinum card is going to be losing. But first, over the past year, you've probably heard me talking about Silo, the brokerage that gives you credit card style points on your stocks and bonds. It's basically what Built did for rent, but for investing portfolios. Here is the big update though. They are getting ready to roll out transfer partners for Silo points. Not confirmed, but they're currently looking at Accor, Wyndham, Air Canada, Avianca, Air France KLM, Virgin Atlantic, Spirit, Frontier, Turkish, Emirates, and Cathay Pacific. Up until now, Silo has paid 1 point for each dollar you have in your account each year. So if your portfolio is $50,000, you get 50,000 points per year, regardless of whether the money is in cash or invested in stocks. Now, this was the early adopter award, but going forward, that rate will be 0.5 points per dollar in your account each year, which still beats any other brokerage. But they are doing one last referred user bonus. So if you sign up using my link below before the end of April, you can lock in that original 1x rate on the entire first year. Plus, you get a 150,000 point new member bonus where you get 1 point for every dollar you bring over to Silo, up to 150,000 points. That 1x rate is limited to 500,000 points per year. So that earning rate plus the bonus equals 650,000 points if you max it out. And that could equal like 3 round-trip business class flights to Europe. Now, it's all very well earning points, but are your investments safe? Well, Silo is in partnership with IBKR, which is where all assets are custodied. This provides $5 million in FDIC insurance and $500,000 in SIPC coverage. So if you want to lock in that 1x rate for a full year before it transitions to 0.5 and lock in that sign-up bonus, use my link silomarkets.com/Ben to get started before the end of April. All right, so let's talk about changes to Platinum Lounge access. Currently, you can access all these lounges with the Amex Platinum, including the Centurion Lounge, Priority Pass lounges, and notably the Lufthansa lounges. And that is when you are flying any airline in the Lufthansa group in economy. And if you are flying business class, you can actually get into their Senator lounges, which are a step up from the normal lounge that you would get on a Lufthansa business class ticket. Centurion card holders can get into their first class lounges on any class of travel. But they just added this to their terms and conditions of the Amex Global Lounge Collection. Effective October 1st, 2026, Platinum Card members will not have access to any Lufthansa lounges. So I assume that includes both business and personal Platinum cards. Not sure about Centurion, whether it's just saying Platinum because I'm logged in and I have the Platinum. Maybe the Centurion card does still have it. I'm not so sure. But what about some alternative ways to get into the Lufthansa lounge if you have the Amex Platinum? Well, there are some Lufthansa lounges in Priority Pass which you get as a benefit of the Amex Platinum anyway. So the one at JFK, for example, is accessible. But the one at London Heathrow is not. And you also won't be able to get the upgrade to the Senator Lounge when flying business class through Priority Pass either. But if you are flying economy class on any airline and you still really wanted to go to the London Heathrow Lufthansa Business Lounge, you can actually still go. You just have to pay to get in. And I see £49, it's about $60, $65 maybe, quoted on the Lufthansa Lounge website. So it is still doable, but obviously at a price. And then one final way that you can still access their lounges is if you are Star Alliance Gold, which obviously requires loyalty to a Star Alliance airline. Doesn't have to be Lufthansa, it can be whichever one you pick. Many of our viewers in the US might have status through United, which is one of the US's big 3 legacy carriers. But remember, you do have until September 30th to take advantage of this benefit before it goes away. And who knows, maybe Amex will replace it with something better. All right, guys, that is the video for today. Don't forget, if you want to lock in that 1x rate for a full year before it transitions to 0.5 and lock in that sign-up bonus, use my link below, silomarkets.com/Ben, to get started by the end of April. Please subscribe if you're new for more videos like this, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.